So, how much money does an expat need? I get my my chores from Beth. If she's going to go turn in early, and she thinks that I should make a few videos, then she says, you know what? A subject that always keeps coming up, and it's as if it can never be answered. There's a couple of things that I'm going to do tonight, various videos that I'm going to do, and they are about subjects that are dead but they won't lie down. And one of them is, how much do you need to live on in the Philippines? Right. This is almost a no-brainer. Let me put this little question to you. How long is a piece of string? Well, maybe it's not such a no-brainer, because it depends on so many things. So here's a questionnaire that you might have to ask yourself. How great a lifestyle am I looking at when I go to the Philippines? Do I want to live like a king, a prince, a beggar, a pauper? Am I willing to live on any of those? What if it doesn't go too well? Will I have an escape route? Will I have all of these things? Now, to get to the numbers, when I came out here, now a lot of people have said, oh well, it's not true, is it? He came out and now he's got all this, it's just a load of bullshit, you know. But I came out with about $2,000. But I also came out with a pension, a modest pension. Well, actually it was two, but add them together, I called them my pension. So I was able to live modestly without touching, at first, the money that I had saved. And I made sure that I didn't go silly. So I actually came out with the intention of spending some time with my son, who was living with his mom in San Fernando, right? And I went there and I spent a few months, I believe, in quality time with him. We went out together, hung out at the mall, and we did stuff, and we went boxing together. Yes, I did, and we just had a great time. Eventually, of course, it all gets down to, well, you know, I'm his dad, not his pal, so things start to normalize, and so I ended up, I looked around and I thought, well, if I'm ever going to have an equality time with a lady anymore, now that I'm here, I'd intended actually to go on possibly to Thailand. But in the meantime, I'd bought a ruined Volkswagen Beetle, or what they call here a Bao, which is like turtle. They call it a turtle. And I bought this car, and I had a mechanic working on it, and I moved into the same street as the mechanic, right, which happened to be a nice street. And I found, to give you some numbers, I found an apartment which was brand new and expensive, according to everyone else. When I told the mechanic's wife, I went into one of those apartments up there, and I quite like it. It was actually 2 bedrooms on a ground floor, 2 bedrooms, no AC, but it was nice. I didn't need AC. I mean, I quite like hot weather. And I bought enough furniture to go into it for very little, a few thousand pesos, some bamboo furniture. I had my computer. I bought a nice little computer desk, which I eventually gave to my son when I was leaving to come to live in Cebu, and everything was fine. The apartment cost me 6,000 pesos. Now, 6,000 pesos, I'm going to let you do the math, okay? I'm not going to be flitting backwards and forwards with my banana fingers trying to keep everything so it's interesting, so you can do the math. 6,000 pesos And it used to cost me about, for the few months that I was there, it cost me a few hundred pesos for water and power. What else did I do? Well, I'm a man of simple tastes. I didn't have a huge love life going on. I had a few where I went out and I met with women, which either went well or it didn't. But ultimately, all of it went nowhere until I met Beth. But I used to go get my hair cut whenever I wanted to, and that cost me $1. All right, so 40, 50 pesos. I used to go take my laundry, and 2 days later it would be ready to pick up, and that used to cost me, I think, 100 or 200 pesos, which was about $3 or $4. Work it out. It doesn't cost much. Every day I used to walk around and I'd go to a little Candelaria and I would have bacon and egg or an omelette, or they'd make me some toast, and they used to welcome me. Of course, they used to rip me off terribly, you know. Sometimes I spent as much as $2 just on a breakfast. Can you imagine it? See, they saw me coming. That's the problem here. $2 for my breakfast. I had a nice time. If I was invited to have dinner, if I was there when I was sitting chatting with the mechanic, and his wife would come out and we would sit and chat while I was just being there and he was working on the Volkswagen doing the work. And if I was going to stay and have dinner, then I would send out or go out and I'd buy a barbecue chicken and bring that in, and that would be welcome at the table. See, so I made friends. I had people that I was working with, that I was giving employment to, so it was a good thing all round. Someone I met had a sick child. I was able to help there, something that I would never have been able to do in Florida because I was barely having enough to make out. So when I came from America, I escaped certain things, and they were all to do with being monetary. Now my modest pension, I lived. But admittedly, I didn't have a lot of expenses. I had internet. I used to go on, in those days I was on Facebook. You can go back and look back 5 years on Facebook, look at my page, and back then you will see what I was doing, and you'll see photographs of the Volkswagen. It's all so transparent as to be boring. So what was I was doing? Let's say that I was paying 8,000 for my apartment, which is far more than I was paying, but that and bills and the internet, 8,000. So 2,000 pesos a week was gone, plus maybe, let's say that I ate wonderfully well in those days at those $2 breakfasts, and who knows, I used to also have dinner as well. Don't tell it, that's just between you and me, all right? I lived, and I enjoyed living, and that was hugely important to me. I went out and people were nice to me. I think people are nice to me generally because I don't have a war following behind me. I've seen some expats and they're like this. You don't know, make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. And I don't do that. And I find that people here are incredibly nice to me. Maybe I'm just being fooled. maybe I could get that breakfast for $1.50. Damn, I'm so gullible. So, what kind of a lifestyle? These are questions that you need to ask yourself. What kind of a lifestyle? Would you be happy to come over and live in a modest little apartment in a scruffy part of town? Mabalacat is no Beverly Hills, believe me. Would you be happy to do that? Will you be happy to have a beat-up old Volkswagen that you've spent too much money on and still keeps breaking down? Would you be happy to go along and get your hair cut in a scruffy little barber shop round the corner for $1? Would you be okay with that? And if you would, then 12,000 pesos a month to 15,000 pesos a month, 25,000 pesos a month, you would be just living nicely. Now, if you want to add into the mix that you expect to have a girlfriend, run a car, have, I don't know, cable, if you want to go out and have trips, if you want to have a different kind of life where you don't live that modestly, then it's going to go up, because the apartment that I got for 6,000 is probably going to have to be in a nicer part of town, so it won't be 6,000. Now, where have I heard this before? Oh yes, everywhere I've ever lived. Depending on where you want to live, how nice is the apartment, or maybe even a house. Is it furnished? Is it furnished nicely? Do you have a car? Is it a nice car? Do you have a girlfriend? Is she a money earner? All of those things will start to double up. Now here's my own formula for working out how much things are going to cost. You sit down and you add everything up. And you look at it, or 2,000 here, and 2,000 there, and 4,000 there, and then 5,000 here, and this here, and this and that, and this and this and this. No problem. 20,000 and I'll be saving money. Now, double it. And then when you've doubled it to 40,000, and I'm not quoting these as figures you can depend on, only as an example, when you've got your 40,000, you add a bit. So here we are, 50. So if you think that you can come over, you've watched Beth do her video, and from her experience of talking to a few expats, one of whom actually in the province was living and had a reasonable life on 500 a month, 500 US dollars a month, then you will be looking at your own pension and saying, well, could I live on 1,000? Well, what do you think that you will be looking at in terms of your expenses? And do you want to have a reserve? Do you have insurance? All of these things you will know already, and they're not restricted to working it out for the Philippines. These are everyday, worldwide, international, rich man, poor man, first world country, living in the desert. They're all the same. It's all the same problem. How do you want to live? How expensive is that going to be? What do you have in your pocket every month to spend? And if A equals B, with a little bit left over in C, you'll be a happy man. Depending then how you add in the last part of the ingredient for this happy life, and that is will there come a time when you may want to go back to where you came from? If so, maybe your reserve should include a ticket home, because if you need to go back, you'll have started thinking again about home. Whereas when I came and I was living on my modest amount, I never thought of going home because I was already beginning to think I'm home. So that's another thing. Now that falls into a different category about how you should prepare for going to live here or anywhere else. Okay, and your reasons for doing so. So that's all I want to do on this, because all that you really need to know is to find out what things cost. And it depends on what you want. I've just told you that I know someone who lived on $500 a month. I know what he paid for his apartment. He paid about between 3,000 and 5,000 pesos for his apartment. Now, if you work it out on 50 pesos to the dollar, then you've got the idea, right? I also know that my niece-in-law, lovely May, and her husband, Dwayne, are paying under 8,000 pesos a month for actually a very nice townhouse in Talibon. Now, Talibon is a simple, fast-growing town with a lot happening in there, but with only possibly 2 or 3 places that you can eat, and no movie house. There's no movie theatre. We don't even have a movie theatre, and they don't even have traffic wardens. They don't even give tickets. Can you imagine that? So it's a backwater. It's going everywhere. They've just got a big superstore, which is about as big as your nearest normal supermarket, but it's a lot to us. So ask yourself how you want to live, what you'll be happy with, and then go from there. Actually, you really know the secret. Once you've been told you can live in a place like Talibon for X amount of money on your rent, you can get, Beth and I, when we thought that we could have a room with a small kitchen and a bathroom and have good internet service, we actually rented a small studio apartment. A small studio apartment, beautiful, in great condition, very clean, with a little kitchen out the back that you could cook in if you wanted, an ensuite bathroom which was all that you would need, and a bed and a little tiny couple of bits of furniture in a very, very nice little block of similar studio apartments. It cost 3,000 pesos per month. 3,000. My friend who told me that he was living at one point on 500 a month told me that, well, the place I'm in right now is about 3,000, but if I wanted air conditioning, I could go to the slightly bigger apartment, which is the one over there, and it would cost me 5,000. So, are you getting the picture? 5,000. You can take a, if I walk down to the road, just to give you an idea, if I walk down to the road and take a tricycle or a van into Talibon, a tricycle may cost me 20 to 25 cents. Okay? About 10 or 20 pesos. If I want to go and take a bus to Tagbilaran, which is a 2 to 3 hour trip, it will cost me about 120. If I want to go on a 1 hour ferry, I think that's only 400 or 500 pesos. So, while you are living modestly, you are also in a place that is, depending on your viewpoint, can be quite magical. So this is a foreigner in the Philippines. I hope it helps. I'm sure that in about another month I'll have to make another one saying this, because people are joining our, I'm not saying this in a complaint, but a lot of people are joining our subs, and the questions keep coming up and they need to be answered. So I hope this helps. If you're thinking about coming, I suspect if you're thinking about coming, very few of the people that write to me that ask me this question are coming to no one. They're not coming to an empty studio or apartment. They're coming to meet someone who is offering them a second chance at a great happiness. We always wish them very well on that. So, thanks a lot for looking in. Bye for now. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Maybe we can hope that comments are back on. I can't promise. Bye for now.